We're back with more on the breaking news. 2 top secret emails have been found in Hillary Clinton's private email server. Also, there's a thumb drive that's in question as well. Sherry, before we went to break, you wanted to respond to the idea that perhaps Hillary Clinton sort of says, hey, it was an honest mistake, brushes it off, and keeps moving.
That means that we have to decide, is she either unethical and lying, or is she just really not up to the job? If you are, I'm sorry, for lack of better, if you are that incompetent as Secretary of State that you cannot handle the high security emails that come in and you want to say, oops, sorry, everybody forgive me, I don't think it's going to cut it. I don't think it's going to cut it with women voters. I don't think it's going to cut it with male voters. I don't think it's going to cut it with her former colleagues in the Senate. Mike Warren is back with us. Mike, you've had a moment to look into this and think about what's going on and maybe assess to what degree do you think this damage, if it's just right here that it was 2 of all the emails and that she pulls the, hey, it was an accident, she claims it was an accident, what happens from there?
Well, I predict that the Clinton spin will be, look, this is something we already knew about. This is old news. That's sort of an old-style Clinton tactic, which is to say nobody really cares about this. The fact is that we knew that Kendall had these 2 emails. What we didn't know was the level of classification that they were at. Top secret is I think the key issue here, which is that this isn't just some sort of run-of-the-mill. A lot of things are classified in government. Top secret is sort of just below the most secret of government information. The fact is that she basically misrepresented what she knew she had in these emails. And ultimately, the thing to remember in all of this, and I think the thing that will sort of trickle down into voters, even sort of low information voters' minds, is that none of this would be happening if Hillary Clinton had simply followed the protocol and kept a State Department email and had not done this homebrew server. That, I think, is sort of, with all these details and sort of things, is I think what's going to end up sort of sticking in people's minds. That's going to be a real problem for her because it's something that everybody can understand and everybody can relate to.
You agree, Jillian? You think it may end up being the arrogant Clintons more so than the one that did a questionable job with respect to her job in top secret material?
I think the top secret material is only one part of the problem here. This is something that could hurt not only Hillary Clinton, but I think the Democratic Party as a whole. Because you've got these sort of things happening under the Obama administration consistently. We're not just talking about Hillary Clinton. We're talking about Lois Lerner's server. We're talking about Marilyn Tavenner deleting emails. I mean, this is something that has become a pattern. I think there could be, blowback on Biden. I think there could be blowback on the Democratic Party as a whole for not being honest with the voters.
Steve Moore, and to that point, every time someone from the Obama administration has been called to talk about this in front of members of Congress, they've worn their disdain for the whole process on their sleeve. They've not been forthcoming. It's just been a charade one after another. It's been very frustrating for the average person. Forgetting about what side of the aisle you're on, it's so frustrating to see one person after another come, either deny it, dismiss it out of hand, or just really show their disdain for the process. And I think that's going to catch up to him as well.
Yeah, what is Hillary going to do when she's called before Congress? Take the Fifth Amendment, as Lois Lerner did. I think that one point that you were talking about in terms of these private emails is I don't think she's really ever answered the question why. Why was she doing this? And who was she sending these emails to?
Don't you think that was part of the arrogant Clinton mystique?
I think probably so, but I mean, she needs an explanation. The other point is there were thousands and thousands of these emails, and we don't know. First of all, we don't know whether the Inspector General has even gone through all of these yet. And is this just the tip of an iceberg?
They really have to make a decision, Tamara. The Democratic leaders, Hillary Clinton. To your point, maybe she goes down the route, hey, it's no big deal. You and Mike made it pretty clear that she'll say it's old news. It's no big deal. We thought you knew that. It was an accident, yada, yada. Let's move forward. What difference does it make? We're going to get all of that stuff. Or they're going to say, hey, to Steve's point, there's a lot more emails out there. They're floating around somewhere. They never go completely away. If they come up, this is crazy. We blow it 6 months from now, we've really blown it.
Well, I think that there are 2 strategies here. The Republicans really have to look at this and say to themselves, are we going to bet on this, hedge our bets that there's going to be something a bombshell?
Why would the Republicans have to do that?
Well, because we're talking about it, and it's obviously affecting her negatively, which is working. It's a working talking point. But if it doesn't work in the long run, and it was an inadvertent mistake, again, not defending her or whatever, and it passes away, it's not working as a way to bring her down. Now, on the other hand, maybe it's just chipping at the iceberg and you're slowly affecting her, and you got to break ties.
You agree with that, Sharon?
Not if she is hauled in front of Congress, as Steve suggested, and maybe it'll be behind closed. If this was one of those closed hearings, one of those closed meetings where they're questioning her and no one gets to know what it is, that's a little bit scary for people. And I think what this does do is it lets the Democratic senators say this summer while they're at home, you know, I'm not going to say anything until I get a briefing. They'll get a classified briefing, so they can hold off going on the shows. They can hold off, I guess, doing anything. But the minute they get that briefing, I'd love to be, right there and see their faces when they come out of the room. But that's where I think we'll really know how serious it is, and they'll know if they can defend her or not. Again, she's not the nominee. They don't have to defend her.
A few months ago, there was some scuttlebutt that this could go further than Hillary was letting on, Jillian. And I come back to the idea, where does President Obama come down on this? And does he have enough animosity toward Hillary Clinton that he's sort of hanging her out there?
He might, but I think it's critical to remember this is his legacy too. This was his Secretary of State. These are repeated
But this
practices.
is his Secretary of State who actually went against his wishes on a few things. I mean, she just, her arrogance was like, you don't tell me who to staff, who to talk to. And I mean, she just more or less ran him over as well.
Yeah, I think what Hillary Clinton and the Democrats as a whole have two problems. The first is what we know, which suggests unethical behavior, possible lies. The second problem, which may be greater, is what we don't know at this point, and that erodes public trust in government and the Democratic Party.
I think that we have these technological issues as well, and that's maybe another reason how she can escape this, because she's going to say, and I thought that there was an explanation out there, that she thought she was doing this to protect herself from hackers, and that's the defense.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to buy that. I mean, you can
No?
you can call Geek Squad and have these things taken care of.
Well, maybe
I struggle with technology too. I'm not Secretary of State, so and if she does try that, then if people buy it, it just makes it look like she is too stupid to work even in government at any level.
But
our
that
government's
gets back
hacked into all the
that gets
time.
back to the incompetence issue too, though, because then you can look at the OPM breaches, the national security interests that were damaged then. I think it's going to be
That's
really
not her
hard.
responsibility.
But I do think it's going to be really hard for Democrats to talk themselves out of this, because no matter which way they turn, there's another vulnerability.
All right, guys.